Anne was born on the 8th of July 1933, just days after her older brother Brian had died. An extraordinary time for any family. Anne went to St Anne's Primary School, even sharing a prep class with her future husband Frank in 1939. It's the first photo that they were both in at the same time. There would be many, many more. And she made her first communion a few years later and grew up with her family at Aideney Avenue, East Kew. We have some video captured in 2003 by Bernie McGee talking to Moya and Estelle about Anne's birth. The sound and video quality is not great, but it is good to hear from someone that can tell us firsthand about the events, even if she was only 8 at the time.
I was only 8. When Anne was born, she went to her, I didn't even know my mother, and I'd be 10. No, yeah, 10, 9. I didn't even know she was expecting a baby. In those days, they never discussed anything like that, whereas children...
So Mum was, no one knew my mum was on the way?
No.
Oh, goodness.
I didn't know. And I think she had to get Mr Smith to drive her to St George's. Dad was too busy. And she went off in the mother's. Remember, she was a wonderful woman.
They went up to Mr Smith the butcher?
Took her up to St George's.
In the meat wagon?
No, he would have his own car, did he?
No, I believe he went in the wagon, so Anne also told me that he went in the... He had to call Mr Smith.
In July 2021, Anne and her brother Peter and sister Estelle and her husband John sat down to talk about their lives. Let's hear what Anne had to say about herself.
See, you have to remember that Anne was born 4 days after our brother died, and he was 7. So our mother must have been going, our parents must have been going through a process of deep grief, but joy at the birth of another daughter.
That's right. But the thing was also, Peter, that Mum had lost her younger sister a month before.
Oh, right.
Estelle died.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So she had a traumatic...
She did.
Oh,
so just as well I was a good baby.
yes, and then I took the name. Hated it.
I lived in East Kew, and then I went off to nursing, and I played tennis at East Kew for a while, and that's, I suppose, when I met Frank when he was playing his
tennis
football with the boys and tennis, and he'd go to the Saturday night dances up at Kew and Manresa.
That's where we used to do.
That's what we used to do, and
We
then
was marvellous.
and then I did nursing for 3 years, and anyway, Frank asked me to get engaged, and I said no, I'm going to have my 21st birthday just on my own.
Go you. Yes.
You have to wait. So and I wore a lovely dress. I got I was so thrilled with my lovely dress on my 21st birthday, and then we had a party down at
Burwood or...
yeah, what was it called? Burwood. Anyway,
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Because in those days the nurses had 12-hour shifts, didn't they?
They did. We worked. Not all of them. Day shift was only 8. At night shift you went on at 7 and you came off at 7.
And Mum, why did you choose nursing? Estelle chose teaching because someone said it would be a good
Well, the
idea.
lady next door had a boarder, and she was a nurse. I always liked, I just thought I'd be a nurse because I liked looking after people. I don't know why I chose to be a nurse, but I thought it was a good idea at the time. But you couldn't go till you were 18, so I had to work at a store in the city when I finished school. It's not there anymore now.
Mutual
store.
What did you do?
And I sold the haberdashery, and then I sold stockings, I think. Oh, it was
nice.
It was nice. It was a very nice store.
Nice shop. Very similar to George's.
It was a poor man's George's.
Yes, it was a nice store.
It was in Flinders Street, wasn't it? Anyway, I went to nursing at Mount St Evans, which was on the corner where the maternity hospital is now, but it used to be a private hospital run by the nuns. And then I went to St Vincent's for 3 years and had a lovely time, enjoyed that, and learned how to fold the sheets properly and put them properly in the cupboards. And then I left there and went down to the Alfred for a while, And then I left nursing because once you got married you had to leave.
So was that when you were teaching, you had to retire?
But then I went
You had to
back.
resign, you weren't allowed to.
I went
be a
back to
married
nurse
teacher.
at the psych ward, the psych hospital in East Kew there, in Argyle Road.
Yes, that was a bit
That
strange.
was on all the poor people. Oh, it's really sad. All those young men who'd come from other countries would come on a Saturday morning to have shock treatment, you see. And it was very pathetic, really. And then on the Sunday I'd run up to church at 10 o'clock, because there was a 10 o'clock or 10:30, and then I'd run back, I'd take the hour off, and that was my lunchtime, you see. And then,
And you worked the rest of the
and
day.
then I stayed there till 4 o'clock or whatever it was. But I stayed there for a while.
Anne married Frank McGee at St Anne's in January 1956. Back in 2003, Gavin also provided one particular memory of Anne and Frank's wedding day.
The only thing I remember of a wedding day was my father saying to me, "Now make sure you bring the beer home from the reception," because you had to supply the beer at the reception, and that was in Burwood Road, wasn't it, Turners? Yes. I remember that part of it quite well.
She and Frank would raise a family of 8, 6 boys, Greg, Paul, Bernie, Mick, Kieran and Daniel, and twin girls, Anna and Marie. With so many children, it can be hard to get a group shot, but they do seem to happen about once every 20 years or so. Here's some of the examples. And the family has continued to grow. As of 2022, Anne has 22 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren, with more on the way.